All right, it's been a couple days since Superman came out. Whoa. Seen it a couple of times. We're past the point of spoilers, so it's time to kind of weigh in on some things. And I think for this video, what I want to definitely do is weigh in on the comparisons. A lot of the comparisons being made with this new film are surrounded by previous performances, most notably from Henry Cavill. Since he's the most recent Superman with the DCEU, there's a lot of comparisons. He's got a lot of fans. I'm one of them, huge Snyderverse fan. So let's get into some of the comparisons, some of the pros, some of the cons, what worked, what didn't work with each of them. And leave me some thoughts down below. Let me know what you think as well. So the first topic I'd address is, are these two actors proper representations of Superman? And to that, I would say yes, absolutely. Now, hear me out on this. With David Cornsweet, I think it's very obvious. The Superman that he represents, that he shows, that he portrays as a Superman that it's easy to find examples of through the eras of comics and the TV shows. The essence that he brings to it is very par for the course in very, very, very many ways. Now, with Henry Cavill, the Superman that he portrayed, the version that they took on for the Man of Steel movie, Batman v Superman, that's more of a, I don't want to say niche Superman, but it's more of a very specific Superman. Keep in mind, this character has been around for 90 years almost. There's so many different ways he's been done. And unfortunately, for some fans, the Zack Snyder take on Superman is heavily based on the Frank Miller stuff. Zack Snyder says this himself. And when you do that, you're taking a small sliver of Superman's history and you're bringing it to life. And a lot of people, compared to the total number of Superman fans, a lot of people have not participated in the Frank Miller style Superman. And if you go back in the day, Frank Miller didn't even like Superman. It's kind of why he wrote him that way. So it is proper. You still do have those main elements of him in there, but it was a different specific route they were trying to take to bring that version of Man of Steel to life. And then you get into the New 52 influence on it as well. At the time, they wanted a more edgier, updated, modern take on stuff. And I think Zack Snyder, along with the success of the Dark Knight trilogy and everything, they were willing to do that in the movies. And at the time, it definitely worked. It definitely worked for me. Not everybody, clearly, but it worked. I think they were both accurate representations of source material. There's a lot of source material, and that's where your mileage may vary. One thing that the new one got way better is Superman's motives. A lot of that has to do with just where we find the character, where we're meeting him at. The James Gunn Superman, we meet him, we're in the story, in the universe, and he's sure of himself, sure of his place in the world. He has this motto that he lives by, given to him by his parents, and it's the core of his identity. With the Snyder stuff, it was about watching him find those things. He didn't have them when we met him. You kind of get this really cool 3-movie arc of Clark figuring out if he belongs to this world, then to what degree is he supposed to participate in this world, and then ultimately getting that status in the Snyder Cut Justice League trilogy. With Gunn's, he just knows. He's sure of it. He's in it. And that gives you a lot of the difference in like the way they move and operate through the world. Again, I think both of them are acceptable and okay. It's just really what's your taste in that. Did you like getting to see Superman unpack all those feelings, all those emotions through the Snyder stuff, or did you enjoy just being along for the ride in the James Gunn one? I think both of them are excellent. They really don't contradict each other. They go well with each other in that sense, looking back on the character.
That's gonna be hard to get right. No.
Good throw. Get a little skip. Go, boy. Boom. Nice. Now, the kind of the setting, the tones of these movies, that's, I think, what creates the greatest difference. The new one, the James Gunn film, has the fantastical, I mean, it's been said 1,000 times, but it's a very accurate representation and description of the film, with saying it's just brighter. It's got this more of a general sense of hopefulness just kind of attached to just the feeling of the atmosphere of the film itself. Not necessarily what's happening in the story at any given time, but the actual film itself, where you're looking for that. It's something that you're seeking in the Snyder stuff. Not just as a fan, but the story is going through the notions of seeking that out as well, as finding it. And I think that that's something that with the superhero movies, it was so perfectly timed with this James Gunn movie, not just because the DC movies were missing that aspect with Superman, but because of superhero films across the board are kind of getting this really bad rap these days, and people are leaving them with the opposite feeling no matter what their intentions were. Then with the comic booky feel, the actual comic booky feel of both of these movies, I think were spot on to what they're pulling from. With James Gunn pulling from a more generic, this could be any time in Superman history comic kind of thing, you can definitely get the feeling of this movie is like reading a comic. It feels like the experience of turning a page and being in a different scene, dealing with different stuff. Where the Snyder stuff, you can see stuff directly lifted from the comics. It's no secret that Snyder has been phenomenal, not just in Superman stuff, at pulling source material. Look what he did with 300. Look what he did with Watchmen. It's spot for spot, shot for shot, pulled from comic books. There's no denying that. So both of these things still have that element to them. And it's really just going to be, what is it that you prefer in this aspect? And, you know, for a lot of us, give me both of them. I like them both. There are a couple things that I say kind of take away from it, though. Good up, good up. Now, a couple of the things that I think are strikes against the new one that Man of Steel has going for it more. For one, it's the biggest criticism that Man of Steel got. The actions of some of the characters in the movie were such a long shot. It was such a, I don't know what this, it's not a deep cut, but I mean, it was a risk. They took risks in both of these films. With Man of Steel, they took that massive risk with the way that Jonathan was presenting Clark with knowledge and wisdom and his thoughts on presenting himself to the world and how the world will receive him, so much so that he allowed himself to die in that tornado. It's been a huge thing for people ever since that movie came out. Now in James Gunn's, he literally turned Jor-El and Lara into Omni-Man from freaking Invincible. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, you gotta take it in stride, right? See what happens next, because ultimately with the Snyder stuff, when you see the big reveal of the return of Superman and Justice League, you get the dialogue from all three films from both fathers that created this amazing through narrative that was just hopeful. So I'm excited to see what they do with this Jor-El and Lara thing, because they didn't correct the record. It stands. They're literally alien invaders sending their son to take over Earth. It's kind of wild to me. It very well could have been, but I wish they would have said that. So everyone's mileage may vary on that. I don't like it. It didn't take away from the rest of the movie. It just makes me want answers more, because I feel like a crime against a character like that cannot stand. But it was Lex. But Mr. Terrific, like in my mind, one of the top 2 smartest men in all the DCEU, said it's accurate, but he wasn't going off his own research. He was going off the word of other people. So we'll see what they do with it. Other things that were a huge win for the new one is the characterization of some of these people. They nailed every character they had in the movie. Mr. Terrific was smart. Guy Gardner was the right balance where it wasn't overwhelming, overbearing, all the way down the line. But unfortunately, because of the stacked amount of characters in this movie, we didn't get as much time as we might have wanted with each of these characters. Doesn't mean they were poorly represented. Doesn't mean they were underserviced. We all just wanted more. That's not a bad thing. That's where a longer runtime could have came in. Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, whether you like him or not, you can't argue that we're not going into depth with these characters. That's all it's doing to its detriment for a lot of people, I think. Good throw, but it goes really, really in depth. You get that more serious tone story. It's taken serious. It's like, it's not for kids, but it's not something that kids couldn't watch kind of thing. Yeah. And I think the last thing that I would want to point out, and I'll leave it at this, the no killing rule. The no killing rule is something that people got to let go. They even mentioned in the movie that Superman won't kill anyone unless he absolutely has to. That was in the new movie. People got mad when he snapped Zod's neck. Whether you think there's a better way for him to do it or not, he snapped his neck. Superman killed Zod in Superman 2. And in the new one with Ultraman, until they come back and show us that this guy is not dead, Superman threw him into a black hole. Willingly, knowingly, methodically threw this guy into a black hole. What happens when you go in a black hole? You look up spaghettification. Dude's dead. Comic book logic, though, he's on Earth 3. Ultraman's where he's supposed to be. He's on the Bizarro world. Who knows? But as of right now, dude went into a black hole. Dude's dead. So you gotta live by the rule, like no one's never truly dead in comics. Just like Zod came back as Doomsday, the whole thing. But ultimately, I gotta tell you guys, comparing these things, I find a lot that I like about both of them, and I will continue to watch both of them. Really curious to see other people's thoughts down below. Appreciate y'all watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, peace.